The situation with Google right now is completely unhinged because they are acting like nobody is noticing the massive war they just started with the entire open source community. Starting in September 2026, Google is enforcing this wild new mandate called Android Developer Verification, which basically means they want every single app developer to hand over their legal name, address, and physical government ID just to be allowed to exist on Android devices. And the craziest part is they are demanding this even for developers who distribute their apps entirely outside of the Google Play Store, like on independent platforms such as F-Droid or just their own websites. Like literally imagine volunteering your free time to build a privacy-focused messaging app for activists or journalists, and suddenly the mega corporation that owns the operating system is holding you hostage, forcing you to dox yourself to them or watch your app get permanently blocked from being installed on normal phones. It is the ultimate mask off moment for a company that literally runs ad campaigns telling you that your data is yours. Google loves to pitch things like the privacy sandbox, telling us to trust them because they will protect our privacy. But that is basically Google promising to protect you from Google. You simply do not get to be both the one causing fires and the fire department. That is exactly why this massive coalition called Keep Android Open just formed, with Brave joining the Electronic Frontier Foundation, the Tor Project, and over 70 organizations. They published this open letter calling the bluff out loud, officially demanding that Google back down from this insane surveillance economy push. Brave declaring war on Google over this developer ID thing is honestly just someone finally pointing the obvious, because everyone knows this isn't actually about protecting users from malware. It is about Google cementing absolute control over a platform that was originally promised to be open and free for everyone. But you cannot really understand why Brave is going so hard against them without realizing that Chrome itself isn't even a real browser anymore. It is literally just a costume. Think about it, you probably never actually woke up one day and actively chose to download Google Chrome as an informed decision. It came pre-installed on your Android phone. It was the mandatory default on every single work laptop you have ever been handed, and your high school forced you to use it on their Chromebooks, including mine actually. Now, it operates as the entire internet for over a billion people who never once picked it out of a lineup. It is not a tool designed to browse the web. It is a highly sophisticated data vacuum attached to a search bar that just happens to render web pages. The war Brave is waging is really about them pointing at the exact thing everyone is currently using and going, hey, you know, this thing is watching your every single move, right? And the usual tech bro advice of just switching browsers is an absolute joke because the entire board is rigged from the start. Google literally pays billions of dollars every single year just to ensure they remain the default search engine everywhere, even paying Apple, their supposed biggest rival, astronomical sums of money to stay the default on iPhones. The whole game is bought and paid for. This is where the story actually gets really good though, because it is a completely fixed game, and the fact that a much smaller player like Brave is actually landing real hits and forming coalitions that make Google sweat means the fix is finally starting to crack. It is the ultimate little guy versus the rigged system scenario, and for the first time in a very long time, it actually feels like the little guy is winning just by refusing to play by Google's incredibly toxic, quite frankly ridiculous rules. The thing you have to realize is that Google is not actually scared of Brave because it is a better browser. The truth is they are terrified because Brave fundamentally threatens their entire business model. Google's massive $300 billion corporate body only breathes if you are actively being tracked at all times. They do not hate privacy tools like Brave because they are technically annoying to deal with. They hate them because a browser that automatically blocks third-party trackers, fingerprints, and cross-site scripts is an existential insult. Brave is living, breathing proof that you never actually needed to be spied on to use the internet efficiently. That is why Google fights so hard against alternative app stores and tries to force developers to register their IDs, because if you can just easily sidestep their walled garden, they lose their grip on the data pipeline. Google is not mad that Brave has cool features. They are mad that Brave proves the surveillance was completely unnecessary all along. When Brave does things like strip out tracking query parameters from URLs or route things locally to avoid Google's servers, it shows everyday users that the modern internet doesn't have to be a creepy thing. And that realization is wildly dangerous to a company that sells your behavioral profile to the highest bidder. Things like antitrust findings and the total failure of Google's privacy sandbox are not just like random headlines, they are documented, court-confirmed realities proving that Chrome's only real purpose is to serve Google's advertising business. So when Brave launches campaigns to keep Android open and fights back against these developer ID mandates, they are directly attacking the core philosophy that Google relies on to make all of its money. And they are doing it entirely out in the open where everyone can see the cracks forming in the monopoly. And the craziest part about all of this in 2026 is that it is not just about serving you targeted ads anymore, because you are now literal AI training food. This is the newest angle on the entire war, because Google's forced AI integrations have completely backfired. It is no longer enough that you are the product being sold to advertisers. Now every single thing you click, search, and type is being vacuumed up to feed Gemini. A privacy browser like Brave declaring war and blocking these trackers is really about you refusing to be the raw material for the AI slop that Google is desperately shoving down everyone's throat. At this point, you are somehow the paying customer, the product being sold, and the free training data all at the exact same time. It is a completely dystopian reality where your every digital footprint is scraped, processed, and repackaged into an artificial intelligence that you never even asked for. When developers on open source platforms try to build alternatives to this ecosystem, Google retaliates by slamming the door shut with these mandatory ID verification roadblocks, ensuring that no one can easily escape the data harvest. They are basically telling independent creators that if they want to build anything for the modern mobile ecosystem, they have to feed their personal identities and user data directly into the central machine. This is exactly why the Keep Android Open movement is gaining so much traction right now. People are sick and tired of being treated as nothing more than digital fodder for a tech giant's latest desperate pivot into generative AI. The ultimate truth is that to a monopoly like Google, you aren't actually a user. You are essentially just livestock, to be honest. This entire conflict, from the developer ID mandates to the forced AI integrations, is not a simple technical disagreement between rival software companies. It is a fundamental battle over whether you are allowed to exist as an independent person online, or if your only purpose is to be a digital resource perpetually farmed for advertising and AI training data. But honestly, there is definitely hope here. Google got so incredibly comfortable owning your data, tracking your habits, and forcing their defaults on you that they completely stopped pretending otherwise. They got arrogant enough to demand physical passports and government IDs from independent volunteer developers who just wanted to share open source code. And that sheer arrogance is exactly why they are finally starting to lose their grip. People are actually waking up. Massive coalitions like the Keep Android Open campaign are forming across the globe, and the simple act of choosing a different browser or downloading an app from an independent third-party store is becoming a genuine act of rebellion. When the biggest tech giant in the world tries to lock down the entire ecosystem and a scrappy coalition successfully rallies millions of people to push back, it proves the game isn't over yet. The fix might be in, but the foundation is cracking, and it is honestly beautiful to watch. So yeah, that's it for this video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Peace.